guys, how are we doing tonight? Hopefully you can all see me and hear me. I am with Kat. Alrighty. And I'm just finishing my dinner, so sorry guys. Hey, you guys are good. You recognize Chipper. Chipper and Bobby, they look so much alike. Okay. Alright, hopefully you can hear me and see me. Give me a shout out. I think you can. Everything looks good on my end, so. Alright, I got cat hair. Somebody give me a thumbs up as far as if you can hear me and see me, and then I'll go to the top. And say hello to everybody. Okay, cool. Thanks, Barbara. Alright. I got cat hair everywhere. Alright, thanks, guys. Okay, so hi, Barbara. Hi, Rich. Hi, Mina. Hi, Tracy. Hi, Steve. Hey, Laura. Hi, Mellow Yellow. Hi, Lisa. Hi, Angela. So glad everybody can be here tonight. All right, so let's take a look here at what we got going on. All right, you're gonna go down. Okay. All righty. He had his snuggles. Hi, Terry. All right, so I'm gonna try to get a little bit closer to the microphone for you guys. Hopefully, it sounds like it's pretty good. Okay. Let's zoom out just a tad and see where we were last week. Okay, so last week we were really working on this upper part of the bark. It was wild and crazy, guys, and it did turn out pretty interesting. After looking at it for the past week, I think it might be a little bit a little bit dark, and I would like to lighten up some areas. So we can kind of experiment with that and see what we can do. I have an awful glare, so I'm going to try to move this down a tad. Boink. Okay, so I think you guys are seeing a little bit more value on there than I was. But anyway, let's mess with it a little bit and see what we can do. Thanks, Mina. All right, so glad that you guys can hear me and see me. Okay, so I was kind of playing around with a little bit of sandpaper before the live stream started, and this is a 400 grit sand pad that is M-Jump sanding pads. They're the nice squishy foamy ones, and normally I don't really like sanding after I've burned because it changes the area around it. It's like, this is not really precise. So anyway, I think I do want to kind of play around here and sand a few areas and kind of pull out some highlights. This whole background here is pretty abstract anyway, so I'm just gonna go with it and try to lighten some places up, and hopefully that gives you guys maybe some confidence to try to lighten up areas you're like, oh man, I got this too dark and now I'm afraid to mess with it. So hopefully, hey, that's looking pretty cool. So I have it folded over like a taco, and I have kind of like a lighter, a smaller area there. So fold it over like a taco and just kind of lighten up some of these areas here and bring in a little bit more of that downward sunlight. Hi, Cynthia. Awesome. Okay. Poof. And see, just a little touch up here and there. It does kind of brighten some of these areas up a little bit that I was going a little bit wild and crazy last week and maybe overburned some areas. It didn't really look like it. And then as I've been staring at it over the week, I'm like, yeah, I'd kind of like to lighten these areas up a tad. And it does change the overall look. You can see some scratches and stuff in there, but It's fine. It'll be fine. It's good. Okay, so even just like a couple little moments of sanding, we have definitely lightened up some of these areas here, which will give us a little bit more depth. It's easy to go too dark, and sometimes it's hard to lighten that up. But don't be afraid to experiment and use sanding paper, sanding pads. You can even try to use like a scratching tool if you want to get a little bit more creative and kind of pull out some highlights. Maybe if I zoom in, you could see a bit better. We'll come over here. So I'm just doing like a little circular motion, lightly. I'm not like gouging the wood or anything, just lightly kind of circular motion here. So see, that can really pull out some highlights there too. Oh gosh, I just like messed up the camera. Now look at that, it almost looks more white than the basswood was. It's kind of interesting. Barbara, you love the sanding pads. I do too, they're so awesome. Laura, you like the sanding pads too to lighten up areas? Absolutely. Lisa, this is an awl that I've had, and sorry, my nail polish. I just did dishes, guys, and my nail polish is like toast. So this is an awl. It's used for making holes like in leather or something. It's got a little twisty thing, but any sharp pokey item would work just fine. You know, it's not super sharp, but it's an awl. You can find awls on Amazon and whatnot. It's they're pretty common. You can get different shaped ones. Some of them have like a big butt, and you can whack that to make holes. So whether it has a big end or a skinny end, just look for something with a nice sharp pointy end. You know, you could maybe even do this with a toothpick. I don't know. It might be something worth looking into. So just to kind of pull out a little bit more highlights in there, and then you can always go back and burn over some of these areas if you get them too light. So just kind of playing around here, but all right, I think our the burners are hot and ready to go. So yeah, Lisa, absolutely. Look in your husband's toolbox. It's just an awl for making holes in leather or whatever. So cool. All right. I need this. So yeah, last week was wild and crazy. We did a whole bunch in not very much time. I can probably, let's see, what do we want to do tonight? As you know, I'm always super prepared. I try to be, but it's life, so life doesn't always get all that prepared. So something interesting is our roses are kind of out of focus, and like you know, I generally try to wood burn the darkest values first. So I think I'm just gonna kind of dive in here and maybe just start where we left off and get going down on the lower part here. Now here's the trick, guys. To see if I can do the same crazy thing that I did last week tonight and make it look about the same. So I have all the same tools, so let's get started. Hey Larry. Oh, I put out a blog post on Wood Burning University today of a tutorial. So it's a free, basically like written tutorial on how to create these cute little lovebirds. Let me show it to you. Okay, so I've got these cute little lovebirds on a branch. It's a perfect project for Valentine's Day. So the tutorial, the written tutorial, is ready on the blog post. I also have a full-length tutorial on this if you want to go in depth. It's like less than an hour. It's really fun, And the cool thing is you can customize it. You know, these are me and my husband's initials and when we were married. So I thought it would be kind of fun. Anyway, so don't miss that. Check out the blog post on, oh, thanks, Mina, she's got it. Wood Burning University. There's a blog post there. Another cool thing, guys, is I'm starting to get on Pinterest, but I have like 8 followers because I'm just getting started. So if you love Pinterest or like Pinterest or even know of Pinterest, go ahead and take a look at that. And look up Wood Burning University on Pinterest and I don't know, maybe help me get started on that. So, alrighty. So I have the flow point like we did from last week, and I am going to just dive in here and see what we can do to kind of focus on our darks. I also did another crazy thing, guys. I made a TikTok account. I've been avoiding it like the plague just because TikTok can be, I don't know how secure it is. Anyway, I thought that it'd be nice to get some more of my content out there in the world. So I'm on TikTok, I'm on Instagram, Pinterest, Facebook. I think that's about it. Anyway, so if you haven't looked me up there, go ahead and take a look. They say you can get like a lot of views on TikTok. I don't know, we'll see. Just trying to get the word out and trying to get more information in front of people. So if you guys can like, share, pin, repost, and all that jazz, it certainly helps to get the information out in front of more people. So I'm thinking about trying to do a monthly blog post where I do a free written tutorial. And thanks, Lisa, for following on Pinterest. That's awesome. Thanks, Barbara, for your well wishes. Cynthia, you saw the blog. Awesome. You guys saw the blog, Steve. Cool, cool. Thanks, Laura. Awesome. Yeah, just any, exposure helps. So I'm just really going fast here around the flowers and putting in some of the dark creases and nooks and crannies in the bark. Where can you see? Right about there. Okay. So like we did last week, this is kind of just our under sketch. We're blocking in some of the key areas to figure out where they're going to be later. And just getting some stuff roughed in. And see, look, I got a stop spot right there. He's tiny, but he's there. So anytime that you're working with a big point like this, those stop spots are easy to create. But everything's going to be so textured that we'll be able to massage it and make it just all kind of blend together. Thanks, Larry. Yeah, I'm trying to get like more posts and stuff out into the world. So I have one project. It's kind of a new thing, but I had one project with the lovebirds and made it into several different forms of content. So I don't know. We'll see. I'm trying. It's hard to break into a world full of content. But if you don't try, you'll never know. So, let's see. This stuff down here looks like it's gonna go a lot faster. It's not as like intricately detailed as it is up top. Alrighty. So I'm gonna try to focus in the dark range here in the middle area, and I'm just gonna put in some texture. This is gonna be a little bit lighter than some of the guidelines that we just put in, so very abstract. Have fun with it. I see that some people have already started working on this project, and that's fantastic. So here's our chicken scratch kind of stage. We're just putting in a little bit of underlying texture to get kind of a directional flow. Let's see what we got here. Barbara, you mentioned me and Wood Burning University every time you talk about wood burning. Awesome. Thank you. I really appreciate it, guys. All the referrals and just sharing my art and everything is really cool. I do hear about that as it comes back in circles. It's pretty interesting. One of my best friends from high school, she was at a craft fair across the state where she lives now, and there was somebody there that was doing wood burning, and she's like, oh wow, you know, my friend does wood burning, which was me. And the guy says, oh my gosh, yeah, I follow this lady on YouTube, and it turned out to be me. So my best friend is like, holy cow, that's, you know, I went to school with her. So it's funny how small of a world we live in sometimes, and it's cool to hear how those things kind of come back. My back is just a wreck. Just did dishes. Our dishwasher died, and our sink is plugged up, so I'm washing dishes by hand and I'm emptying it with a bucket. It's just like olden days, except for we have running water, which is pretty cool. Oh, so all right, so that's got a little bit of texture in there. Definitely chicken scratchy, but we will work on that. So a little bit more texture. This area is kind of light here, so I don't want to go too crazy on the texture. So we have some kind of like lateral lines in here for the bark. Thanks, Lisa. Yep, you guys are awesome. Thanks, Mina. Thanks for the well wishes, Tracy. Tracy? Well wishes? Tracy. It's, yeah, talking is a new thing. It's kind of difficult. Thanks, Mina. I'm glad to be your teacher and mentor. That's very sweet. Tracy, yeah, no, everything is just going wrong. It's kind of part of life. I think it's, I don't know, it's just life. Everybody has problems. If all I have to do is hand wash dishes and haul buckets of water, it's not too bad. We're warm, we're safe. You know, things could be a lot worse. And did we ever get our new batteries? No, we were able to borrow a battery. So we have, like, our off-grid system has, oh gosh, it's like 8 big batteries, and one of them died and it was pulling all the others down. So we were able to borrow a battery to take the place of the dead one. And so our power system is kind of stabilized. It's doing better, but we did order some of those big fancy crazy expensive batteries, and I think they've been delayed due to the cold and the weather, so we're trying to get those in and scrape together enough money to get them up here. We'll install them ourselves, so that saves a little bit of money, but yeah, we're still kind of limping by on the power system. It could be worse though. At least we have heat. Can I slide the photo down? Oh gosh, yeah. Thanks, Terry. Yeah, you guys just shout at me. Because this needs to go over there. How's that? So you see, it's all kind of really dark and mysterious down there in that shadowy area. It's not that big of a deal. We'll put in a lot more blending and smoothing. Let me drop this down a tad. I think, guys, that this part is going to actually go pretty quick. It's mostly really dark. Is that better, Terry? I hope so. I'm going to add a little tape to keep that thing from moving. Alright, here we go, guys. Aw, thanks, Terry. Yeah, we'll see how it turns out. I'm generally an optimist, and one of my favorite sayings is "so far so good." There's this kind of it's a dark kind of humored joke about an optimistic person who jumps off of a building, and every floor that passes, they say, "So far so good, so far so good, so far so good." So that's kind of my motto in life anymore, is the eternal optimist. Even as bad as things get, that's our little battle cry anymore, is "so far so good." So far so good, so far so good. So we'll just make the best of it and always see the lighter side if we can. Okay, so this is just really kind of crazy here. Thanks, Terry. Thanks, Tracy. I have gotten myself into trouble. Tracy and Terry think that it's going to be better than the picture here. But I have gotten myself into trouble from time to time doing new things, and it's like, oh dear, I kind of make a lot of work for myself trying to figure things out later after I've done something new and different. But that's okay. This could be really time consuming if I approach this with my same old meticulous, careful approach. So I'm going to try to be bold, try new things here, and see what we can do to move things along, because time is money, guys. And I think there was a pyrographer on Facebook. I want to say her name was Justine. Anyway, she cranks out like a ton of wood burnings, and it's really cool to see how much she can create. But she was taught that, you know, time is money, and it's hard to get your time back out of projects like this. So sometimes it helps to just go for it and try to make the best that you can quickly. And yes, absolutely, you will definitely learn along the way. And now you guys can't see that. We're close here, guys. I'm blocking in the bottom area. Alrighty. So yeah, it's all pretty dark down here. So I did, Barbara, I think it was Justine Dillenbach, I think was the lovely lady that I was thinking about. Okay, so everything's kind of like chicken scratched in here. Oh, we got to add a little bit more texture. So let's just kind of go crazy here, and a lot of this is going to kind of be blended out, so it's going to be really dark, but I don't like just smooth shading in areas like this. I think we do need some sort of texture, so let's see what we can do. Mina, I have now 9 followers in Pinterest. Awesome, thank you. Aw, you have 2 followers? Yeah, I got on there today and I had to like try to find all my login information because I did a little bit with Pinterest back in the spring of this last year of 2023, and then everything just went weird and I kind of got off social media, so I had to find my login information and all that. Yes, Barbara, Justine Dillenbach, she does a lot of work. I think she mostly works on Pine too, which is pretty cool. I'm not a fan of Pine, but she does a great job with it. She does a lot of like Comic-Con type fan art, which is amazing. She does a great job with that. And realistic stuff, all of it. She's very talented. Woo, we have all kinds of lines down here. So this is where the abstract nature definitely comes into play. Just have fun with this part. Doesn't really matter. Most of this is going to be pretty dark anyway. But I like to have a little bit of structure underneath our shading. So we'll just have some fun. Just imagine you're looking at wood grain or bark, you know, and see what we can do. Thanks, Tracy. Yeah, I'm just barely on Pinterest. I'm trying to get into that. So blah blah blah. Okay. Alrighty. Bum bum bum. I think I'm gonna go back up to the top here real quick. I'm gonna have to move me and put me in the other corner. I'm in a timeout. All right, there we go. So I'm gonna kind of like work up here. Oh, you can't see that. I'm like pointing with my mouse. I'm gonna work up here. All right, and we'll just kind of work our way down and then around. So I definitely want to go with probably the shading point for some of this lighter area in here. But I mean, we just block that in really quick, like what, 10 minutes for our darks. Yeah, Cynthia, pine is very difficult to burn on. Cynthia, didn't you do the dog on the heart-shaped piece of pine? Because I know we were talking about trying to push that one darker, and then I realized that it was made on pine. I'm like, oh dear, it's going to be hard to really push that much darker. Yeah, Mina, social media is definitely its own, oh gosh, it's a monster of its own. And if I need to zoom in a tad, you guys let me know. And I generally try, that is like way overexposed, guys. Let me see what I can do. All right, I think that's better. It's not so blown out. Okay. So really just dot slide as far as texture in here. Trying to get a little bit of the lighter values built up. And by lighter, I just mean compared to some of these really dark areas, everything in this zone is just a little bit more on the lighter side. So I have kind of a dot slide and wiggle worm technique going on here. Laura, yes. Social media is definitely very time consuming. you know, I'm really trying to reach more people and get more tutorials in front of people that would enjoy them. But the whole social media thing is, it's like, man, when it works great, it's awesome. And then sometimes that just doesn't work at all. So we just do the best that we can. Okay, so we have all these weird like flower tidbits here. I'm going to go around them for now. And just kind of start adding in some base shading. This is all going to be pretty smooth right here with not a whole lot of texture. A little bit, but not a lot. Oh, bug. Go away. I think we have these weird little bugs that come in with the firewood. I don't know what they are. Okay. Yeah, Terry, the social media thing is, well, and there's so many of them anymore. There's, you know, you got Facebook, you got TikTok, you got Instagram, YouTube, Pinterest. So the list goes on and on. Here's some circular motion, and they're in a shade. You guys are okay? I don't need to zoom in yet. Let me know. So any of these little harsh areas here, like I have a dark line, I can kind of just blend it out a little bit. So far so good. Yep, Terry, that's our new battle cry. So far so good. Cool. Okay, yeah, Cynthia, you were the one that did the dog on the heart. Cool. Yeah. Yeah, that turned out really good, and it was great because the pine has a very golden color, and the dog looked like a golden retriever. I don't know if it was, but it was a good match for the dog type, so that's pretty cool. But I have had the worst time trying to get dark values on pine. I've literally sat there and watched the sap boil, or the pitch, boil out of the wood before the wood would ever start to darken. It was pretty frustrating and very smoky. That's definitely why I prefer basswood. It does not have all that sap and pine and pitch and all that. Larry says, you used the super glue on the wrist bag and it worked great. That is awesome. Very cool. Yeah, that's too bad that it oh, my nose, came apart, but I'm glad that the super glue worked. Okay, so see, this is all kind of getting very soft and blended here. I have like these two dark, harsh lines. I'm going to just kind of buffer those out. I'm doing a little bit of a circular motion along the one side because those harsh lines there are a little bit intense. Mellow yellow. Yes, there are a ton of platforms. And some are vertical and some are horizontal. So it makes creating content a little bit of a challenge. Okay. Hey, I'm liking that. That's looking pretty good so far. I might need some more blending up there, but we're just going to keep moving on down here. I'm glad you guys are learning something new every night. So I'm doing a lot of circular motion, I think, on this one. I want a little bit of texture, but a lot of it's going to be quite dark. So the circular motion seems to be working pretty well. And it's funny how the circular motion, like watch this little spot right here with the lines and the harsh transitions. I'm just going to do that circular motion in here, and it's going to kind of just like eat up that area and envelop it and make it all nice and soft and smooth. And then you can go slower and add a couple more layers. And you can still see a little bit, I think, of the texture underneath, especially at different angles, but it just blends everything out really cool. And if you don't like the circle motion, you can do the wiggle worm, kind of back and forth. A blend is pretty cool. Yep, burning and learning, Barbara, absolutely. Okay. All right, so that's coming on down and looking pretty good. So I have a knot right in here, but I think it'll be just fine. It'll look like a piece of bark. So I really did have to kind of like fit and fool around with this because I've got a knot here and a knot there. I think that's close enough to the flower that I can hide it. So I think it'll be all right. Is everybody staying warm out there in the world? I know it's pretty cold most everywhere. We've had our share of, 1 degree, feels like 5 below kind of stuff. We've had several weeks of the cold, so I hope everybody is out there and they're warm and that you guys are all doing okay. I know Rich said that even in Florida it was getting pretty cold. So sometimes these little knots have dips and hollows that you need to kind of burn inside of. But I like it. It looks like a little knot. I can actually make, I think you guys can see that. I can bring this down and make like a little knotty thing, like a knot of wood. That's kind of fun. All right, let's see what we got here. So once I get kind of through this tight little area, I might go over to the pro point and see what we can do with that. Okay, so that's looking pretty good. I love the shading point because it just blends everything really, really well. Cold in Florida, Terry? Oh, but you're gonna get back up to 72. Oh my gosh. Warm for us, like we hit 31 today, and that's pretty darn warm. Barbara, you had 26 in Georgia. Wow. Larry has some new gas logs installed. Awesome. Steve, you're staying warm as long as you're inside. Tracy, we have about 2 feet of snow now. Which isn't bad, but we definitely had more last year. I think we had over 3.5 feet at this time last year, but last year was an insane, crazy year. Lisa, it's 24 there. Oh dear. Barbara, you're doing good. You got a wood stove for backup. Good. Tracy, 13 in Pennsylvania. Rich hit 45 yesterday. Wow. Barbara has 22, Cynthia 20. Oh, and you're getting 8 to 12 inches of snow. Yikes. Yeah, we have more snow coming in as well. I think this weekend. So this is a little pro point that I kind of ground down. Like I said earlier, I did contact Walnut Hollow and I haven't heard back. I was just kind of checking in to see the status of the pro point, and I don't even know if the person I contacted is still there. So if I don't hear back in another couple days, I'll probably just reach out directly to the company and see if I can get some more information. All right, so now I went from circular motion up there to like longer strokes here, and you can kind of see the difference. I think with the pro point, I'm just going to start really blocking these in and just throw down some color. Throw down some value here. And then I can go back in with a shading point over the top and do that circular motion and blend things out a little bit. Everything down here is really dark, so this should go pretty quick. Bum, bum, bum. So Larry, you went squirrel hunting, but you didn't see any squirrels. It's good to get outside though. Terry, you're supposed to be in the 80s. Oh my gosh, I think we're supposed to get rain this next week, which is crazy. So I was out on we have a tractor with a snowblower attachment. So I was out on the tractor for about 3 hours today, and about 3 hours, I think yesterday, trying to get the roads opened up and cleared out. We have some lovely neighbors that are able to pitch in once in a while, but we kind of are the main people to keep the roads open here. So the cool thing about it being really cold is the snowblower works great, but if it gets too warm, like over 30 degrees, or if it's sunny, our snowblower gets a big old mouthful of snow and just stops working. And then you gotta chip and chip and chip and chip and chip and get it all out of there. So as long as it's cold, we can keep the roads open. But if it gets too warm, like in the springtime, it's really difficult with the heavy wet snow. So cold is good for right now for us. Laura, you just got above 0. Oof, that's pretty cold. You got up to 21. Barbara has daffodils blooming and saw a robin. Oh my gosh, Barbara, you live in a very nice toasty area. Mina has seen 20s the whole week. Oh wow. Angela back up to 32. Yeah, you were around 0 for a few days. I think, yeah. Your climate, I think, Angela, is pretty close to ours. Hi, Vicky. Vicky says it's snowing on Vancouver Island. How cool. Yep. I can handle snow just fine. I just don't like the wildfires in the summertime. So as long as we can get lots of snow, it keeps the wildfires away. Oh gosh, guys, you can't see what I'm doing. You gotta yell at me. I'm like way down there. All right. Doing basically the same thing that you're seeing up here. Everything's very stringy. We have stringy bark right now. I'm just trying to color the wood and darken it up a bit. That's the cool thing about textures is you can really like overlap the textures and get some really fun, different, unique effects in the end run. Rich, how was your soup and how was the soup and bread? It was really good. I had a ham bone from Christmas that I had from the freezer, so I pulled the ham bone out and I made a nice ham and bean soup. And yep, we had sourdough bread in the freezer, so it all turned out really well. So So isn't it interesting, guys, how a difference between circular motion right here created almost like a rocky, kind of a pebbly textured bark, and then down here with just long strips, it looks very stringy. So it's pretty cool. Terry, yes, absolutely. There's always an ugly duckling stage, and I think we are right there in the middle of this one. I'm feeling a little bit more confident on this one instead of the top part, like what you did the last time. The last one was a bit crazy. So I'm gonna just keep working with that stringy kind of texture, and I'm gonna move me again because I don't need to be here. Okay, there we go. Yep, it was a ham and bean soup. It was really good. I've always boiled the ham bone in a pot and then picked it clean, you know. And Terry, I love the top part too. It was just a little bit out of my comfort zone, and it kind of scared me to do what we did last week. Kind of scared me, and I really wasn't all that sure it would turn out. I'm thinking, usually if I give myself enough time to dink with it, it'll turn out okay. But I'm like, oh my gosh, I'm doing this in front of people, and it's not looking very good. But it did. It turned out okay. We pulled it out. We had a Hail Mary, so it worked. Anyway, this is completely different texture down here than up above, because the upper part, it was like rolls of bark in an arch. So that was definitely more complicated. Absolutely, Terry. I was really wondering if it was gonna work out. I'm like, oh gosh, what did I just do? I just burned this nice little owl, and I just ruined the background. But it's okay. It turned out fine. And I know that probably each and every one of you guys have had a similar experience of creating an artwork, and it's like, oh, it's looking good, and then you get into an area where you're maybe not as familiar, or you're just struggling that day, and it's like, this is not gonna work out, and it's gonna look awful, and I might as well just quit here. But you've got to push past that ugly duckling stage and know that it is just a stage. It will pass. That ugly duckling stage, you can get through it, but you can't quit. If you quit, then the ugly duckling wins. Just keep at it, keep fiddling with it, put it aside, walk past it, look at it throughout the week, and whatever's wrong with it or not quite right in your mind, it'll turn out, and you'll see the solution sooner or later. It's like, oh my gosh, I didn't even realize it. And yeah, that's how I fix it. So just don't quit, and it'll all work out. So that's very stringy bark there, guys. That's pretty fun. So I'm going to do some shorter sections in here. This is by no means done. This is just a nice little layer. And I get sidetracked about the ham and bean soup. I usually boil the ham bone. It's still got, you know, lots of meat on it, and I usually boil it in a pot, and it always got like tough. The meat got really tough. So I started to do that last night, and I thought, you know, I have an Instapot right here. I'm going to try it in the Instapot. So I took it out of the boiling water, and I put it in the Instapot, and I cooked it, and it was so much better. The meat was a lot more tender, so that was pretty cool. Kind of resolved a lifelong issue there. Mina, you've learned that here. Aw, not to quit. Yeah, it is so easy. It's like I get so frustrated, and I just want to stop. And it's funny because with wood burning, I know that stage, and I'm like, I just got to work through it, and it'll be fine. I know what I need to do. I just need some more time. But when I try to paint or do something else, I get really frustrated, and a lot of times I quit. So it's, I I think the more that you get familiar with your art form, like painting or wood burning, the more you get comfortable with that uneasiness of the ugly duckling stage. And it's like, oh, this is not turning out the way that I wanted it to, but there's a lesson here for me and I just need to push through it. So I'm definitely more patient with wood burning, which is funny because it's such a long art form. It takes a long time. And painting, man, you can put down paint and make it really fast, but I only give myself like a couple hours, and I'm like, this is not looking very good. I've spent a couple hours on it and I get frustrated. So I have to remind myself it's just like wood burning. I just gotta keep with it and keep going. So if you are frustrated, don't quit. Keep at it. And just keep spending more time with it and it'll all turn out okay. Or if it doesn't, you'll learn something along the way, which is good too. Terry, you're doing that right now on one of your ballpoint pen drawings. After showing it to Barbara, you think it's just you. Oh, yes, we are all our own worst critic. Absolutely. I think I'm going to switch over to... this is a large section here. I think I'm going to switch to the shading point because I want this area to be a little bit softer. And we'll just see what we can do. Tracy, yes, we are our own worst critics. Rich is suggesting chili and cornbread next. I do make a mean pot of chili. And I haven't made cornbread in a long time. So I'm doing kind of like a squiggle worm / circular motion in here. Just move the burner nice and slow in an irregular fashion, kind of back and forth. You might notice I'm not lifting the point off the wood like I normally do. You know, that smooth back and forth shading, the airplane method. I'm not doing that right now. I am just leaving the point on the wood and just meandering it around. So if you get stop spots, that's okay because it'll add to the texture. Oh, that's kind of dark right there, but I think it'll work out. We'll just pull it down a little bit. The bug from the firewood has returned and he's just chilling out over there. Have you ever had a bug fly into your wood burner, guys? It's just awful. I mean, they don't usually do well, but it smells bad. They just kind of drop in, and I don't think they liked it. Ah. Tracy, yeah, I'm just now really getting into the Instapot thing. I need all of my vegetables cooked really well because I can't eat fresh stuff. So we're really diving into the Instapot and it's working out pretty well. And I love being able to take like a frozen roast and raw vegetables and throw it in the pot and it's done pretty darn quick. So the Instapot's pretty cool. So just some general shading here. So see how we have the underlying texture. We have a few different underlying textures. We've got the dark lines, we've got the strippy things, and now we're just going to kind of smooth and blend it all out. Terry likes to make beef stew. Yep, absolutely. Yeah, we just finished up a pork pot roast that I made. And now we have ham and bean soup. We had chili just before that. It's like, it's been so cold. I keep trying to make stuff that is nice and warm. All right. Hey, we could make a cooking channel on Wood Burning University too, guys. So that's pretty cool. Yeah, as you're wood burning and it's snowy and cold outside and you got something warm in the oven or in the Instapot. It's like art and food. So this whole area down here is basically going to be the same kind of feature. We're just going to go real slow and build up some smoothing and blending. I might kind of zip around the flowers here and see what we can do. But this, I think you guys are probably getting the idea of this texture here. Ooh, mellow yellow, you have tendinitis in your hand. Oh dear. That's no fun. Larry, I love chili with Fritos as well. My mom got me hooked on that. Cornbread in the chili, Fritos in the chili, cheese on top, and it's so great. And then some red onions. Very good. Vicky says that you've only quit once and redid a pet portrait. The second one turned out way better. Yeah, Vicky, I agree. Sometimes there's... I've done the same thing. I had to restart a portrait one time just because the main thing that I was fighting with was the wood. The wood was really weird and punky, and it had all these splotchy patches to it, and I was trying to burn eyes and realistic features, and it just wasn't working out. And so one of the reasons I do tend to start with the eyes on a project is because if they don't work out, I'm kind of toast, and I just decide to scrap it and restart. New piece of wood, retransfer the whole thing on. I really don't have to do that very often, but you'll know if the eyes don't work out, you're probably better off in the long run to redo it on a new piece of wood, because if you can't save the eyes, it's like not even worth the rest of the project. Some people like to save the eyes to the last, but I see that a lot of those people they've been wood burning for quite a while, so I don't know. I always start with the eyes, and it can be frustrating to have to start all the way over again, but there's a fine line between not quitting and realizing when to start over. So it's all good learning information and a learning experience. Bernie Bear's favorite is beef stew. Awesome. We love beef stew. Vicky says the bark is looking good. Okay, cool. Yeah, I think it's going to work out. This is a lot less stressful than last week because everything's pretty dark. I think we'll be okay. Man, you guys have got some great recipes going on in there. Oh, that's awesome. What? So yeah, just kind of mix it up here, squiggle worm, back and forth, round and round. Have fun with it. But like we talked about last week, try not to get in a really repetitive pattern. Sometimes I'll notice that with the shading point, it has that edge to it, and sometimes I'll rock my hand a little bit too far one way or the other, and I'll see some like repetitive dents. So, because I'm constantly holding it like this, and if I'm constantly tipped, I'm going to dent the wood again and again in the same area. I hope that makes sense. So by even just holding it different in your hand this way, vertical, or this way, or that way, it can break up some monotonous areas as well, because we don't want a lot of repeating patterns if we're going for realism. Patterns have their place in nature, but you have to be careful. There's a man-made pattern and then there's a nature pattern, and I want more of a natural pattern instead of a man-made pattern. Okay, so I'm going to keep working around the flowers and see how far we can get done here. Boop, boop, boop. So any of these outlines that I make around the flowers, like right here, you can see I have an outline. Like even right here, I want to make sure to blend that out so you don't really see that outline in the end. It's just kind of me, but when I outline, I try to be really careful so that it's hidden in the end. Because when I first started wood burning, I would outline everything with a really dark value and then try to recover by blending it out, and it didn't work very well. So I think as beginning wood burning artists, we like to outline stuff because it's easier as a wood burning artist. We don't have a very easy medium. Our tools are a little bit unforgiving. So if you go a little bit slower and not so dark to begin with, you can blend out a lot and make it look a little bit more natural. But I mean, if you're going for signs or lettering, then just go for it. Outline all that you want, because that is just a different kind of an effect. Okay. So let's see what we can do to kind of smooch over here. But we're really rocking here on this. Let's take a moment to zoom out, because I always think that's a good idea to do once in a while. Can't zoom out any more than that, but okay, so that's looking pretty cool. Let's see, we have the bark up there. We have this very stringy stuff down here, but we'll kind of keep blending that out so it'll all look kind of like dark. Okay. Hi Val, glad to see you here tonight. Alrighty. So I think I might jump over here and we'll work on this area a little bit. So let us zoom in. It's kind of zoomy. All right, so we'll work from the top down. I'll probably zip back over to the shading point on that one and throw me back downstairs. Okay. Everybody's gonna be so hungry tonight. You guys have some amazing food ideas there. Mm-hmm. Vicky, you do the eyes first as well. Yep. Yeah, Vicky, burning white animals can be really difficult. Absolutely. Terry, you're afraid of screwing things up when you're almost finished? Yep, I agree. Been there, done that too. Okay, so just, I hope you guys can see that little tidbit and this one here. Thanks, Terry. Yeah, it's, I think it's working out okay. I don't want to spend all night on that lower section, so we'll kind of bounce around here a little bit. But same thing, if you really want the heat to maintain and kind of stay there, don't lift the point off the wood. Just kind of run it around. Cynthia says the dog is the first one that you did not outline. Yes. Absolutely. That's a great thing to learn, because we just want to outline as beginning artists. And then we realize that okay, well, I made the image, but it doesn't look quite as realistic as I had hoped. You know, if you're shooting for realism, you don't have to. But then I've learned to create my outlines with shading more so than just a hard line. And if you try to do an entire piece without any hard outlines, it teaches you a lot as far as how to push your darks dark enough and your lights, maintain them light enough to create the value of like separation. Because that's really all that we do, guys, is we deal with value and texture. That's, if you can master value and texture, I think you're pretty well on your way to creating just about any wood burning item that you want. Make sure your darks are dark enough, your lights are light enough, you have enough mid-tones that gives it the structure and the meat and potatoes of the wood burning. And then you got to get your texture right. So texture and shading, guys, that's where it's all at. Hi. You're gonna, whoa, you're gonna jump up here, aren't you? Alrighty. I think I still have a kitty cat outside. Oh boy. If you guys don't mind, I think I have a cat outside. Let me... Oh, come on. Oh, okay. I think I know where the cat is. Hold on. Let's see. We have a cat outside. Look out. Come on. Come on. So I've got a cat somewhere. Well, come on. What are you doing? All right, she's in. I kept hearing this weird noise. Poor kitty. Hang on.
I can't find any phone charger.
I get one here. All right, sorry guys. The cat is in. I think I turned the light off. So I kept hearing weird noises. And the cat was scratching to get in. She went like clear around the house because she couldn't get in the normal door. What is wrong with my camera here, guys? That's weird. Why is that not focusing? I don't know. Whatever. You know, I can just like delete me. I don't know why that is toast. Come on. Has it been that way the whole time? I don't know. Sorry guys, I'm getting distracted. Let's just keep burning. I don't know. Seems to be better. Still blurry. Terry, you're working on your standard poodles. Aw. That's cool. Yep, Chipper, he's all happy to jump up here. Okay. Alright, so sorry guys for the delay, but the kitty is safe and warm. So, you know, in the effort of saving time, let's switch over to the, yeah, it went out of focus when I got up. Okay, it's cool. We're good. I'm going to do the pro point here and just block in a little bit more of this texture shading. Because it's so much faster. So this, I am lifting the point off the wood each time. I'm doing the airplane mode. The Pro Point burns pretty darn hot, so I don't want to leave it on the wood for very long. Steve, how do you find me on Pinterest? Look up Wood Burning University, and hopefully you can find me there. I have a few things. Most of it was from last fall, but I'm starting, you know, to try to get that stuff more consistently posted. Guys, I would love to get this bark done tonight. That'd be really cool. Oh, Tracy, you lost your border collie. Oh, that's so tough. This is the worst, is to lose an animal. Mina, you found the link to my Pinterest? How cool. Okay, so Mina put in a link to the Pinterest account. Cool. I didn't even know that you could do that. I'm learning. Cynthia, we're so glad that you're here and glad that everything is being helpful. You have a pit, that's a pit bull? And you'd like to make a wood burning. How cool. Pit bulls have like really short hair, don't they? If you're working on something with really short hair, it's mostly like just shading more so than fur texture. Like horses have really, really short hair. And so you're going to want to, I'm out of the frame. You're going to want to do a lot more shading and less texture with animals that have short napped fur or hair. It's just going to be a lot more smooth. Make sure that you watch for shiny spots in their fur. Like here I put in some shiny spots of owl feathers. Like the light is hitting those areas and they're a little bit lighter and shinier. So,
You have a bug on your shirt.
Well, get him. Oh, he's my friend. He's been wood burning with me all night.
Can I have him?
Yeah. So, if you want like really glossy short fur, that glossiness is basically unburned fur or hair. So. Okay, cool. Thanks, Mina. It's a pin from your Pinterest account. When people go there, they can follow. Cool. Okay. Alrighty. So, let's see. We have a lot of nice woody texture here. I'm going to just kind of go back over this and add a little bit more texture and shading. You can do texture and shading at the same time, depending on how smooth your strokes are. So that tapping, you can hear me doing the airplane mode. So I'm not putting the burner on the wood all the time. And so much of this is abstract, guys, so just really have fun with it. I do see that I need to add a little bit more shading up there, but I will get back to that later. All right, I'm going to jump back over to the shading point and we'll kind of make this look a little bit less stringy. And I'm going to do a circular motion. Okay, so see, we're taking a little bit of the stringiness out of it just by adding a little bit more different texture layered over the top. Now you don't hear the tapping, so I'm just keeping that point right on the wood. You're welcome, Cynthia. Yep, Tracy, they are our children with fur. It's so hard to lose little ones. Thanks, Mina. I'm so glad that you're learning lots here. That's awesome. And Lisa agrees with Mina that you took a break from current work to do a few small pieces so you could practice and learn to practice what you've learned, and you see a difference in your burning. That's awesome. Thanks, guys. Thanks, Barbara. Thanks, Tracy. Thanks, Terry. Thanks, Cynthia. Yeah, it is. Sometimes it's good to just kind of like take a step back and stop trying to create like I'm the worst at always wanting to create a full project, like something that I can sell or do something with in the end. But sometimes just putting that aside and doing swatches and just doing textured or little test pieces to learn and practice is really, really cool, because then it frees you up. You don't have to worry about, oh my gosh, I want to sell this piece and it has to be as perfect as I can make it, and then, oh no, I made a mistake and now what am I going to do? But if you have just a scrap piece of wood with little squares and you spend some time creating all kinds of different textures, it's pretty darn cool. And you learn without the stress of having to be like have it turn out perfect. So I hope that makes sense, because I have a big like perfectionist streak to myself. Like everything has to be perfect, and that's why it's like the bark is like loose and crazy, and it's all kinds of fun, and it teaches me to work outside of my comfort zone, because I could nitpick at these things for hours, and I think you guys would probably all be asleep. But if we just dive into it, we learn along the way, and we learn something new. So yeah, take the pressure off of yourselves, guys. Just practice, have fun. And sometimes I'll go into a project that I know is going to be a challenge, or I want to do something crazy, like add a different kind of color, and in the back of my mind the whole time I'm thinking, this project is just a test piece. That's all it is. I know I want to add color. I know I might mess it up. I might ruin the whole thing. But I go into the project knowing that, you know, this is what I planned. So if it doesn't work out, it's okay. All right, so hey, that looks better, guys. Cool. We still have a little bit of that stringy undertone, but it's settled out with some chunky bark. aspect. So I need to re-switch the camera. I don't know that re-switch is a word, but it is tonight, guys. I can't believe how fast we have done this background. I thought it was going to take so much longer. Oh, you're being a pain. All right, I'm going to move me again. Whoop. Because everything's all wonky. Hold on, guys. All right, there we go. Everything's just kind of dark down there, guys. Just imagine like a dark tree. Yep. Barbara says test pieces are how you started. Awesome. Yeah, just start on scrap pieces of wood, and then you'll also know like what wood is good and what wood isn't, because there's this wood that has this splotchy texture to it that I hate. It just drives me crazy. I'm like, oh no, I'm not burning on that one, because everything that you try to shade nice and smooth will be speckled, and it's frustrating. So Mina, you can see your progress, and it's awesome. That is awesome. Larry says you remember in the book the different designs that I made with each tip of the Versatool. Yeah, so take some time, especially whether you're new or not so new to wood burning. Take each of these points and just play with them. It takes a while to plug them in and warm them up. That's why I have a few different burners here, guys, because I don't like to take the time to rewarm them. Just experiment, see what can you do with this single point. Exhaust your imagination on what all you can do, and then turn it off, plug in another one, and do the same thing. So Terry, you haven't burned anything since 2020. Oh dear. Yeah, I know you've been wanting to get everything out. But, you know, graphite and pen is very similar. So that, you know, it helps just to do art. So I'm back to the Pro Point. I'm just going to add some more shading in here. Does not have to be perfect. We can blend stuff out later. All this stuff down here is like the void. It's just dark. Have fun. But I would caution against making it a solid dark like we did up above with the upper part of the owl. That mass of dark up there, that solid black, works perfectly for a black background. But if you were to try to do this kind of texture or technique down here, you would lose so much of the cool intricate, deep woodiness of the project. So it takes a lot more time to put in the texture, but it looks, I think, so much better in the end run. You could just block it in with a flat black and you'd get it done a lot faster, but it's gonna look flat. So add texture to your shadows, and I think you'll be happier in the long run when your project is finished. You're very welcome, Barbara. I'm so glad that you're seeing improvement with each piece that you create. That's awesome. Yes, and the whole group here is very inspirational. Just so lovely to be with you guys each week. So you can hear I'm kind of tapping, a little bit of back and forth airplane mode. This whole area down here could be solid black, but we're not going to do that. We're going to add texture. Terry, yep, keep drawing. That's great. So along the edges of the bark, where the wood burned bark meets the real bark of the wood, it's a little bit really loose and kind of a mess. Normally I'll go back and clean that up, but you don't have to. It's actually kind of working with this piece to just leave it a little bit messy. So I'll see when we're done if I want to clean that up. I usually like a nice, crisp, perfect line, just because that's me. But it doesn't have to be. You can burn into that area if you want. Hey guys.
Hello.
Hey, would you turn the light on for Dad, please? Oh, thank you. Checking on the chat. Great information in the chat, guys. Cynthia, you did get another Versatool, so you can have 2 tools to work with. Absolutely. That was a big game changer for me, was having at least 2 burners, so I didn't have to constantly switch back and forth between points. Generally, I have 3 to work with, just because I have a piece of wood that has nails in it, and it holds 3 burners. But generally 3, you get pretty good results, because when one needs to cool down, you can rotate and warm another one up. But did you guys know that normally Michael's, the store Michael's, has a 40% off coupon for any one item in the store? I think they still have that, but that is how I got these wood burning tools. You can get them like 40% off if you go to Michael's. So there's a coupon. There used to be a coupon. I hope it's still there. 40% off any one item coupon, and it's online. And just print that sucker off and walk into Michael's and get a wood burning tool for 40% off. And then the next day, go back and get another one. Whatever you need to do to make it to where you have the tools that you need. And like I said, I have a piece of wood here. Let me zoom out a tad. Whee! And I have the wood burning kit comes with like a little stand. I always kind of struggled with that, so I just nailed in some pieces of some nails in here, and kind of they lean in so I can twist the cord up and out to get it out, and then when I lock, it's like I lock it back in. It's really redneck, guys, but just a couple nails in there at they kind of close. So this is what I have. I don't have them resting on anything. I figure if the whole piece of wood catches fire, we're all toast. It never has. I've left them on overnight accidentally. Just secure them so they don't fall on the floor, but always make sure that they're off, because house fires are no fun. Okay. Mina, what is asking, what tool do I use to clean the bark edge? Okay, so let me zoom back in here. I guess when I mean, okay, so I guess what I mean by making it cleaner along the bark edge is that I just meticulously burn closer to there. So I don't really clean up this side. All I do is go in and Kind of go like this and really make sure that I burn right up to that edge, but blend it in. So I don't really use a tool per se to make it all nice and clean, but hopefully you can see here in a minute. See, I have like little tidbits of unburned wood there. I'll go back in. And just kind of clean it up like this. I clean it up on the burned side. And make it look just a little bit more crisp. But very good question. So sometimes I'll just kind of like make the line down here. And then I'll go back in and kind of blend it out and make it all nice and even. So let me zoom out a tad and hopefully you can see where like this section here is a lot more cleaner and crisper than some of the other areas. Okay, cool, Mina. Yeah. I suppose you could, hey, let's try that. So we could possibly take our little sanding pad, the 400 sanding pad. I suppose you could go in here and like if you did some overburn, you could probably, sanding with my left hand is not very good. So that does help clean up if you have any ghosting or overburn over there, like I do right there. Let's take this sander. Hey, look at that. That's pretty cool. So you can either sand the bark area to clean it up, or, I mean, you can still see it's kind of rough. It's kind of chunky there. But either way, cool. I don't think I've done this before, guys. The sanding. That works for that ghosting overburn. All right, so let's keep working down here and go from there. Terry, yes, definitely go to Michael's. Double check that they still have the 40% coupon. They used to always have like one item in the store, 40% off. And just either go to a different store or go on a different day or whatever you want to do. But I really did get, I either got my wood burning tools 40% off on the Michael's discount, or I would get them during the holidays. Walnut Hollow used to have a great 40% off sale each Christmas as well. So generally my tools are like discounted. So I used to buy some wood burning tools like that and then just keep them on hand. Sometimes people would contact me from different parts of the world, you know, Africa or India or China, some of these places that they can't get this tool. And so I would work out a deal with them and I would send them the burner and some pieces of wood to help them get started. And just trying to kind of help people out with that. So it helps to have some of these on hand at 40% off, because if yours dies or whatever, you have a problem, it's not that big of a deal. If they're 40% off, it always helps. Tracy, you bought another Versa tool off my store. Cool, thank you. Oh, you got some wood. Awesome. And the blender pencils. I love the blender pencils. If you add colored pencil to wood burnings, you have to have the colorless blenders for colored pencil. That solved a problem that I faced for years as far as the colored pencil would not blend. It wouldn't sink into the fibers and it would just sit there and drive me crazy. And then I found the colorless blenders. It's so cool. It just makes Oh, the colored pencils just sink down into the wood and it just looks fantastic. It's a real simple little thing. What is it? So I usually, come on. Hey. Be nice. Anyway, it's just, oh, here's one. So if you ever want to add color pencil to your wood burning, you got to get a Prismacolor colorless blender. Oh, there you go. Colorless blender. It's so cool. Mina has a cool. So this just makes your colored pencils look awesome with wood burnings. Psst, psst, psst. Hey, quit! Quit! Bad kitties. Oh, cool. So Larry, you've got one of those too for your Versatools. Fantastic. Cool. Very awesome, Lisa. Trying to catch up on the chat here. Lisa says that Joann's has a discount code too, or has the burners too. Val, you got some ink erasers for your Derwent electric eraser. I love that thing. I've got one of those. Cool. I'll have to get one of those, Val. That sounds really cool. An ink eraser for the DeWalt mechanical eraser. I'm gonna have to get one because that would work perfectly. At the beginning we were trying to sand off a little bit of some areas that I over darkened, I thought, and some more control would have been awesome in that regard. Because that's usually why I don't like sanding areas to lighten them up, is because it messes with the other areas. Yep, Lisa, a Tombow eraser, it works really well too. I should have tried that instead of the sander pad. Okay, so just lots of circles here. We're just kind of working this out. I should get this all done tonight. Alrighty, so this is going to take me a little while. Okay. I might jump over to the Pro Point and see what I can do here. I'm going to lay it like flat on the wood and just really have some fun here with adding some darker areas. Because this will make this all go a little bit faster. We're having pizza tonight, guys. My pizza wizard is making pizza. Hey, look at that. That's pretty barky. Isn't that? That's pretty cool. I like that. That texture. I think I might do some more of it. Just really thick, dark lines. Almost like if you had a highlighter full of dark brown. It's pretty cool. But that's a fun texture right there. Alrighty, so let's kind of blend that out a little bit. And I think our tree bark is looking pretty darn good. Yep. Oh, Lisa reminds you guys to check the oven before you fire it up.
Yes.
Thanks, Lisa. Yeah, check the oven first, guys. No more broken lids. Oh, I'm sorry. Terry is asking, did I hear any more about the Pro Point from Walnut Hollow? So I emailed them and I have not heard back. I emailed the person that I was dealing with the last, but you know, sometimes people stay, sometimes people aren't there. I don't know. So if I don't hear anything back from that person, I'll probably, like this week, if I don't hear back from them this week, I will contact the company directly and just try to get some more information, because it's been a while since I've heard anything. Of course, I didn't really reach out because it was a crazy year and I kept getting sidetracked, or I forgot, or I was dealing with a lot. So anyway, I have made contact with them. Oh, you can't see me, darn it. I have made contact with them and hopefully I will hear back. And if I don't, I will try to contact somebody else with the company and see what I can do to get you guys some more information. Yeah, I wish you guys could all have those, and I might just have to, I don't know, make them myself. I don't know. It would be handier if they could do it, but I don't know. Every time I use the Pro Point, I'm like, I feel so bad because I want you guys to have them. So I might just have to see what I can do to make some more. I need to give them to my uncle and see if maybe he could help. He can make anything. But I really wanted to work with Walnut Hollow first and see what we could come up with. So just a lot of blending, circular motion here. Just knocking down some of these bright areas. And I think our bark is going to look probably more barkish than the photo. Thanks, Barbara. I know you guys would pre-order them in a heartbeat. I just want to make sure that I can get you guys something really good. To make sure it's gonna work for you. So you can also lay the shading point flat on the wood to kind of get a little bit of this dark area in here as well. I find that it produces like a different color of brown. It's kind of hard to explain. But when I lay the shading point flat on the wood for shading, it makes like more of like a burnt, like a dark umber instead of a burnt umber. Anyway, it's just a slightly different kind of brown, and I usually just use the upper part of the point. It takes a little bit longer, but the browns seem to be more consistent. It's maybe a nitpicky thing on my part, but I see it and it's like, that's a different color of brown or shade of brown. If you just lay the point on the wood and try to speed things up and shade that way, I don't know, it's different. But you certainly can just lay that flat on the wood and go to town and get things done a little bit faster. Like that. So we're looking pretty good here. I'm gonna add a little bit more. Oh. Thanks, Tracy. Rich, I hope you enjoy your tea. Okay, so I still have a little bit of harsh outlines around our flowers, and we could kind of mess with that a little bit later. But let's zoom out. Let's take a big picture view here. I'm going to try to get this higher. Hang with me. Close your eyes if you get motion sick. I'm going to try and zoom out and see if we can see the whole thing. Hey, there we go. And refocus. All right, cool. Look at this, guys. I got it all in the same frame. So up here, this is like not quite hardly even done. This needs some more there, and that needs some more. This is looking pretty cool. All right, so we got a few minutes left here. I think I might just bounce around and finish up the bark here and there and see what we can do. Boink. Come on. All right, there we go. Sorry. Oh, okay, let's add a little bit more there, and then next week, yeah, the time has flown by. I can't believe I did basically the bark in 2 sessions. It's wild. And I think it's because we tried just a really crazy aggressive approach to the bark, and so it turned out okay. It worked. It's a great starting point. I mean, you could go back over and massage and blend and whatever you want to do to the bark to make it look the way you want it to look. You could leave it as is. You could really go back and fine tune it, whatever. But I think that gives you a good idea on how to create such a textured, dark textured area pretty darn quickly. So a little bit of circular motion here. I just want to, good night, Val. Thanks so much for being here tonight. I just really wanted to lay down as much value as I could. All this right here is going to be circular motion for some nice texture. But this area here seems too light for me, so I'm going to kind of tone it down, push it back a little bit. It's no, kitty, no. Don't eat my sandwich. And don't step on the burners. Okay, good girl. So this area right in here needs to be pushed back a little bit. So we'll just do some circular motion, nice and slow. That'll give us texture and shading. Remember, light values pull forward, dark values push back. So this chunk of bark here, I want to push back a little bit more. So we will darken it up. Awesome. Thanks, guys. I love the cough remedy that you guys are posting up there. That's fantastic. It's a good time for it too. Mullein is great for your cough as well. It's just a plant. We have it. It grows up here, so I've been harvesting that. Okay, so you can see how now this little chunk of bark here is starting to push back, give us a little bit more depth. And let's see. Here, so this chunk here is getting a little bit better. I'm going to add a little bit more. You can follow the reference photo, or you can just kind of like pave your own path. Just really, really have fun with this, guys. As long as you match the overall feel of everything, don't worry about the details. Try to get the big picture view, the 30,000 foot viewpoint. If it looks like bark from a distance, you'll be fine. Sometimes we can overwork areas and just make it too, I don't know. Don't let the details control you, guys. Use the details to your advantage, like in the areas of the eyes and the focal points, but the rest of the stuff, just go for it. Yes, mellow yellow mullein grows everywhere. It is fantastic for asthma and bronchitis, tuberculosis, coughs. Mullein is just fantastic. It supports your immune system. I'm not a doctor. Do your own thing with mullein. I'm just, I really love plants, so. Disclaimer, I am not a doctor. Do not take this as medicinal advice. Research mullein before you use it. Some people have allergies to mullein. All right, guys. Thanks for hitting the like button. I really appreciate it. Oh, Barbara, you're going to have flurries soon. Yeah, Larry, don't be overcome by the details. Use the details to your advantage, and areas that are out of focus, like the bark, just do like Elsa does and let it go, because it's totally fine. Yeah, Terry, you can dry mullein and make teas. You can make mullein tincture, which I've done. There's all kinds of cool stuff with mullein. Some people do have an allergy, so just watch out for that. Okay, what else we got? We got a few more minutes here, I think. Whoa, let's fill that in at the top, and I think we'll be good to go. Yeah, I think a lot of people are going to get snow tonight. I hope everybody is safe and warm with lots of Earl Grey tea. Nope, that's not. Oh my gosh, this is going crazy. Come on, there we go. Lots of Earl Grey tea and firewood and soups and stews. And lots of family and friends and art. Okay, so just a little bit more here at the top. And then next week, let's work on the flowers. And I don't know, guys. I think this piece is begging me to add color. I'm envisioning owl. The owl is gonna have like yellow eyes, yellow orangey eyes. The flowers need to be like a light pink. I think it'll be cool. So we'll probably finish up early next week as far as it. I don't know. I don't think it'll take too long to do the flowers, but it might. If it does, we'll add color. So it'll be all kinds of fun. All right, let's take a look and see what we got. Hey, kind of get about all that in there. That's cool. All right. So we have lots of different crazy textures. If it were me, I would maybe go in here and smooth out and blend out some of these things, but it's pretty chunky. It's very organic. It all works really, really cool with the subject matter. Like I say, I could nitpick over this stuff for forever and ever, but even just as is, I think it looks pretty darn cool. So looking at our owl, we could possibly like darken up this edge here and make him, if you want the owl to kind of recede into the dark area, darken his edges. or her edges, whatever. So darken the edges of the owl here and there, and kind of let that darkness envelop the owl, and he will push back into that nook. So darkening up this area here and a little bit more there and down there, that will push him back into his nook a little bit more. Good night, Terry. So that's just a couple of things that I would change. Is, I don't know, I could nitpick on the bark and you probably wouldn't even know if there is a difference. But the owl, let's darken some of these edges and make him kind of more hidden and reclusive. I think it'll be fun. All right, so next week we will work on the flowers and probably add a touch of color. We're not going to go crazy with color. I'm just thinking like the eyes will make yellow, a little bit of white on the feather fluff, and some pink flowers, and I think it'll be pretty fun. All right, guys, thank you so much for being here tonight. I appreciate all of your support. Stay warm, and I will see you next week. All right, good night, guys.